today I'm going to share with you my 1 week postpartum update. I had my baby on August 6th via C-section, and she was at 32 weeks, so she's an 8-week preemie, and she is living in the NICU for the next few weeks, but no worries, she's doing really great, and I will update you on her towards the end of the video as well. So the first part of this video, I'm going to go over my first week postpartum, recovering from the C-section, and just how everything's been going for me. So I started keeping notes. So I'll start with the C-section recovery first, days 1 through 7. The first day, or right after I had my C-section, the first 24 hours, I didn't feel any pain at all whatsoever. And I touched on this a little bit in my birth story. So if you haven't seen my birth story, I'll have that linked down below and somewhere here on the screen. I just go over absolutely everything leading up to the birth, during the birth, after the birth, all that jazz. So if you want to watch that, you can go get caught up there. But first 24 hours, no pain. I did have a spinal block, so I was completely numb from pain for a long time. So I felt really great after surgery. After 24 hours, so day 2, I was in the most pain. Like when I had to stand up for the first time, take a shower, just that whole first part of the second day was really rough. I felt a lot of tightness initially, and then I started feeling a lot of burning and stinging around the incision area. That's completely normal. The burning is not a sign of infection. It was just very painful at first. And then they got my medication, my new medication, back into me, and that helped with that. Day 3 was still painful, but it was a little bit better than the previous day. I wasn't able to walk around too much, but they were very big on me not laying around, getting up, walking around a lot. Still a lot of tightness, and I had to have my medicine around the clock. The medicine that they gave me after my spinal block wore off, I have Norco and prescription Motrin. And Norco for me, I get after all of my deliveries. I got it after my D&C, and it really doesn't do anything for me. I really prefer the prescription Motrin or ibuprofen. That works a lot better for me. So yeah, day 3, it was a little bit better. I was able to move around a little bit more, but it was still pretty painful, still a lot of tightness. Once it was time to take my next round of medication, that's when I would start to feel a lot of burning in my belly. Again, very normal. Day 4, a little bit better. That's the day that I was able to come home. So I was moving around a lot better. I was able to walk to the NICU by myself. I had been wheeled there on a wheelchair a lot before that, but I was able to move around a lot more, but still not for long periods of time. Day 5 is when I started to feel a whole lot better. I think a lot of it had to do with being back at home, getting a lot better rest, because I did not get good rest at all in the hospital. It was very difficult for me to get any sort of sleep. So I think that had a lot to do with my pain management, and everyone is just so much more comfortable in their own home. Day 5 is actually the last day that I took my Norco. I decided to just stop taking that because it wasn't doing anything for me. I'm not the kind of person that just takes medication to take it. So day 5 in the morning, that was the last time that I took the Norco, and I just stuck with the Motrin after that. Day 6 and day 7 pretty much felt the same both days. Really good, almost back to my normal self. The only thing is that, I move around really good, but the only thing is that if I'm up for too long, it starts to get painful. So if I'm on my feet or walking for a few hours or more, my belly starts to get really tight. It starts to become very uncomfortable. So even though I'm feeling so much better, I still can't be up and on my feet for extended periods of time, or else I start to get really sore. So as far as the incision goes, it is raised, which is normal. I don't have any stitches or staples on the outside. I have staples and stitches on the inside, but they're all dissolvable, and then the outside is just glued shut. But it is thick right now. They said that over time that will go down, it will go away. But so far so good. I have an appointment on Friday to check my C-section scar to make sure that everything's healing properly. I was pretty bruised underneath the where they did my C-section, about the size of this big, and it just like looked like a giant raspberry. It was very red and purple there. I do have a little bit of bruising around the incision line, but nothing compared to underneath it. I just have a really big spot where it was very bruised, but that is starting to fade now. A little bit of swelling, but nothing too crazy. I have a little bit of swelling about this thick above my incision line, but it's nothing too crazy. So that's pretty much it regarding the C-section and the incision. Let's go over blood pressure. So I did have preeclampsia, so my blood pressure was really high. It ended up getting a lot higher postpartum, like a few days postpartum. I think day 3 after the C-section was the highest it had gotten. It was like 171 over 100, which was very, very high. I think a lot of it had to do with just the preeclampsia itself, surgery and the stress on the body and things like that. And I think there was just a lot of other factors that went along with it. Anxiety over having to leave the baby at the hospital, not getting any adequate rest, being in pain, all of that. So since my blood pressure was really high, they decided to give me a prescription for labetalol. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. I'm taking that twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evenings, just until my blood pressure goes down and my body regulates itself. They said sometimes it takes or can take up to 6 weeks for the body to regulate itself and for the blood pressure to go down after delivery due to preeclampsia. So hopefully it won't take me that long. My blood pressure's already starting to regulate itself. I do have a cuff here at home, so I have been checking my blood pressure a few times throughout the day. I try to check it right before I take my medication, so when I've had like a long stretch of not having my medicine, and it's finally like getting back to a normal range. Hopefully I don't have to be on it too much longer. The next thing we're going to go over is postpartum bleeding, and it hasn't been bad at all. It hasn't been anything near what it was like with my vaginal delivery with Kaysen. My bleeding was so much worse with him, and they said that that's very typical with a C-section because it really clean you out really, really good. 1 week postpartum, it's extremely light. So I'm really thankful for that. I haven't had any issues with postpartum bleeding. I did end up passing a few clots at the hospital too. I passed clots for maybe like the first 2 days or so, but yeah, I haven't had anything like that since. Next thing is pumping. I'm exclusively pumping. Contacted my insurance company because I qualified for a free medical grade pump. So I'm really excited about that. I don't have it yet, but I should have it probably next week. So I think 2 weeks postpartum, I'll finally have a medical grade pump. I do have an electric pump here at home, but it's the pump that I had with Kaysen. I don't know the exact name of it off the top of my head, but I'll list it down below in case you guys want to know which pump I'm using. And it's all right. It is 3 years old, but it's getting the job done, but it's not as good as a hospital grade pump. So I'm excited to get that because I am exclusively pumping. And I know I've said before, I am totally pro breastfeeding or formula. Whatever you want to do for your baby, I am all about it. I'm not one of those people that is gung-ho about breastfeeding and is going to shame you if you don't breastfeed your child. Because I had a tough time feeding Kaysen or breastfeeding Kaysen, and I only lasted a month before I switched him to formula. But with her being a preemie and after speaking with the NICU nurses, breast milk is 100% the best option for her because it's harder for preemies to digest formula and for their bodies to take to formula. I would love to know anybody's tips on breastfeeding, building up your milk supply, because I'm pretty sure I'm normal right now. Like every time I pump from both sides, but I get about 2 ounces every time I pump. And I'm trying to get really good on a pumping schedule, but it is so hard not having the baby here to tell me when I need to pump. So I have to set alarms on my phone to remind me to pump every 3 hours. I really would like to pump every 2 hours, especially during the day. Over the last 2 nights, I've started setting alarms to get up at 2 and 5 to get up and pump. I've been successful at getting up at the 2 o'clock alarm, but not so successful at getting up at the 5 o'clock alarm. So I do know I need to get better about getting on a pumping schedule to help increase my milk supply. I also ordered the lactation supplements from Honest Company, but they haven't come in yet. Those come in on, they should come in like tomorrow, I think. So I'll have those soon, but I would love to know any kind of lactation tips or tips on how to increase my milk supply, because I'm like kind of nervous about it like going away or something like that. So I would love to know any and all tips. Let's move on to weight. So I gained 21 pounds total during my pregnancy, and I went up to 32 weeks. So I gained 21 pounds. I started off at 124 and my ending weight was 145. I lost 12 pounds in the first 7 days. So I currently weigh 133. So I lost 12 of that. And honestly, I think, you know, a lot of it was water weight, because they kept asking me if I had noticed any kind of swelling on my body, and I really hadn't. Like, I would wake up in the mornings and my hands would be really fat some days, but that's pretty normal, and that would always go away by the end of the day, because my rings would always feel a lot better after I'd been up for a few hours. While I was pregnant though, I noticed, you know, my lower half was getting a lot larger. Like, my thighs were getting bigger, my butt was getting bigger. I was gaining weight all over, but I thought that that was actual weight being gained from being pregnant. But now that I'm a week out, my thighs are significantly smaller than what they were, and I can tell that because on my maternity shorts, they were nice and snug before I had the baby, and now 1 week out, they're baggy again around my legs. So I guess I really was swelling and retaining a lot of water in places that you wouldn't typically think you would be swelling, because when they ask you if you've been swelling, you typically notice it in like your feet, your ankles, that kind of thing. And now that I'm not pregnant anymore and I'm a week out and I've lost 12 pounds in 1 week, I've noticed that I was in fact swelling, but it was evenly distributed all over, like in my arms and my legs and my butt, everywhere, my calves, the lower half of my legs, everywhere. So I really was swelling, but I just didn't know it. So I just feel like there needs to be a lot more awareness about preeclampsia, because there really isn't. So by day 5, a lot of my swelling had gone down. I did swell though, like my feet and my ankles did swell more noticeably after I had the baby, but I think a lot of that was to do with like the surgery and that magnesium drip that I was on, like all the extra fluids and stuff. But by day 5, all of that swelling was completely gone. Another reason why I think I was retaining a lot of water and swelling is because I have been sweating like a pig at night. Like, I sweat the bed. I wake up at night and like in the middle of the night and in the morning, and I'm soaking wet with sweat. And I'm not hot. Like, I'm not hot because I'm cold and I want to be covered up with the covers, but I'm sweating so bad. And I looked it up and it's very normal. I'm gonna let my doctor know about it on Friday just to be safe. But from what I've read, sweating at night after pregnancy is just your body's natural way of ridding itself of all the excess fluids and stuff like that. And I talked to my grandparents about it today, and they said that the labetalol is probably making me sweat at night too, because I guess blood pressure medicine can get rid of a lot of fluids and water from the body too, because it's helping you to bring down your blood pressure. So that might be it too. So I'm gonna talk to my doctor about it on Friday just to be sure. But yeah, I'm losing a lot of water weight, a ton of water weight. As far as like postpartum clothes go, comfort is the #1 thing for me. I've been purchasing a lot of nursing wear, like nursing tank tops, nursing bras. I already have certain ones that I prefer over others, but I want to give it a little bit more time to really wear things, wash things, see how they hold up before I recommend like my postpartum must-haves to you guys. So yeah, so I'm definitely gonna do one of those videos, but I want to give it at least 2 weeks of wearing everything and trying everything to really let you guys know what I think is worth it and works the best and what I preferred and all that. But clothing-wise, we've been nursing tanks, my maternity leggings, regular leggings, PJ pants, high-waisted underwear. I went to Target and purchased just like a 5-pack of Fruit of the Loom, ugly ass, high-waisted underwear, but I'm telling you, those are an absolute must-have after having a C-section because they come up really high and you don't have to worry about wearing a regular pair of underwear that's going to irritate and rub against your incision. So definitely get you a pack of high-waisted Fruit of the Loom underwear or Hanes or whatever brand you want. But I found mine at Target. It was under $10 for a pack of like 5 or 7. There is nothing sexy about them, but they are so worth it. That's pretty much it for me. I'll go ahead and show you guys my postpartum or 1 week postpartum belly and body shot right now. Okay, so this is me postpartum 1 week. This is a nursing tank from Rosie Pope, and then these are just like a regular old pair of leggings, but this is me postpartum 1 week. This is my belly 1 week postpartum. This is my belly for 1 week, so still got a little bit of a pooch going on, and you can see my underwear line, so please excuse that. But yeah, this is just kind of like what I've been hanging out in the house in. I love these nursing tanks. They're just so easy, especially even though I don't have a baby here that I'm nursing, I'm still pumping. So a nursing tank is just, it's a must have. I have to have it. So yep, this is what I look like. Okay, so that is it for me 1 week postpartum. I will give you guys a 2 week postpartum update when the time comes for that. So now I'm gonna go over Lainey. So I hate that I don't have her here to show you guys. But I will definitely do a meet my baby whenever I bring her home because I'm definitely ready to show her off. But 1 week postpartum in the NICU for a 32-weeker. She's been breathing on her own since birth, thank God. We have been so lucky. I am so thankful. I pray every single day and thank God for her breathing. She's been maintaining her body temperature, which is great. She weighed 2 pounds 3 ounces when she was born. She lost 3 ounces initially, which is totally normal for any baby, preemie or full term, to lose weight after they're born. So she lost 3 ounces when she was born, and she did not gain any weight back the first week. So she sat at 2 pounds for the full first week. They said that sometimes it takes about 2 weeks of regular feedings before the babies start to put on any kind of weight. So she should be putting on some weight soon. They started feeding her on, I believe it was day 3. My days kind of ran together in the hospital a little bit, but I'm pretty sure day 3 is when they started her feeding tube and they started feeding her. They started her out at 3 milliliters, which is about half of a teaspoon. But they were able to increase her feeds every single day because she's been able to tolerate them. Another praise God moment right there. She's been able to tolerate her feeds like a champ. So they started her out at 3 milliliters, and by the end of the week, she was at 15 milliliters. So by the end of the week, day 7, she was at 15 milliliters. She was doing really, really good. I'm so proud of her. Tolerating all of her feeds, digesting them with no problems. So happy. She did have to have 2 treatments for jaundice. They said that it is very common for preemies to get jaundice and need treatment for that. To treat them, they have to sit under this blue UV light until their bilirubin levels go down. And the bilirubin levels in the blood is what they check to see if the babies have jaundice. And day 3, I think, is when they started treating her for that. Day 3, they started treating her for the jaundice, and she had to spend 2 days underneath the blue UV light. It basically makes them look like they're in a tanning bed. They have like these little felt goggles on to protect their eyes. And the UV light just naturally draws whatever is causing her to have the jaundice out of her body. So she did 1 full round of 2 days of that. She was okay for a couple of days, and then her bilirubin levels rebounded and they went up a little higher than they were initially, which they said does happen quite often. The bilirubin levels will rebound and then they'll have to do another treatment. So she did have to have another 2 days of that. Right now, she's done with her second treatment. So we're praying and keeping our fingers crossed that she's done with that and that her bilirubin levels won't rebound again, and she'll be done being treated for jaundice. We visit her every single day. Even now that we're home, we make it work. If we can't go together, Kevin and I go separately. So we've been able to visit her every day and hold her and spend time with her. I'm doing skin to skin too. They call it kangaroo care, where they just put her in my shirt and she can lay against me. But Kevin and I have been spending time holding her too and trying to bond with her that way. Her glucose levels have been a little up and down. They were really low initially the first day, and they had to hook her up to an IV, and she had her IV in the whole week. But she was able to maintain them and all that stuff up until day 7. Day 7, she had her IV out for about 24 hours and her glucose levels dropped. So they've been tweaking her feeds and trying to figure out a way for her to be able to maintain her glucose and her sugar levels on her own. They said that just because she's so small and she doesn't have any fat or meat on her bones, that it's harder for her body to keep her sugar levels up. So they're going to tweak her feeds and see if they can get it in a way to where she doesn't have to have her IV in anymore, and that she can naturally maintain her sugar levels on her own. One of the ways that they are tweaking is to add extra calories into her milk, which they said they do to a lot of the preemies anyways, because it really helps them to gain weight fast. So I'm really excited to see and hopeful that she'll start putting on more ounces now that she's getting those extra calories into her diet. So that's pretty much it for her for the week. I'm excited to see what she does this next week. We treat absolutely every single little bitty thing as a new milestone. We're thankful for every single new little milestone that she gets to, and we are just so positive and so thankful and so happy that she's been doing so well, and we just are so thankful. So we couldn't be any luckier with her and how well she's been doing. So I hope you guys enjoyed my update, and I will be back for week 2 postpartum, and I will be working on a postpartum must-haves and nursing must-haves for you guys. So give this video a thumbs up if you're excited to see those. Subscribe if you haven't already, and if you have any questions for me that you want me to answer in my next postpartum update, just leave them in the comments down below, and I will see you guys again very soon. Bye.